Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock. Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Hello, and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name is Jason E. Newlandy, and this is Let Me bore you to sleepy. Please only listen to this when you can safely close your eyes. I think I may redo that introduction. No, I won't, because I'm lazy. Lazy E. So hey, how you doing, babes? How you doing? You alright? You alright, babes? You alright, darling? You alright, sweetheart? Alright, darling? Alright. So yeah, this is Friday the 9th of July 2002-1. It really is July. It's summer, apparently. Apparently. Raining all day long. Makes no difference to my life. I don't know why it's sort of like, it's raining. Or if you've been out, has it affected you? Did you get wet? No. Because I didn't go out. I didn't need to go out. Therefore, I didn't go out. So I've been sitting on my bum all day long. What have I been doing? You may ask. What's it got to do with you? I don't have to tell you anything. None of your business. I'm going to tell you about my exciting life. Okay, fair enough, I will then. Well, what I've been doing today is two things. I have been trying to organise my recordings on my what do you call it? Storage box thing, data storage thing that I bought a couple of months ago. So I'm trying to get all my recordings all on there, all organised, just as another safe space for them all to be. I'm using the normal laptop for that because it's just easier to use. It's just easier. Learning how to use Apple Mac and how to use their way of doing things is just... I don't know why... If they were superior, which they're supposed to be, as far as processing and speed and, lots of different things, why not just have the same way of using it as with Windows? It's easy. Windows is so easy to use. And you try going over to Apple and their iOS system. It's just not... It's not user-friendly at all. Like, the phone is, and the iPad kind of is, I guess. But the MacBook I got it's not a touch screen, which I was surprised about. You can touch it, but it does nothing except make it marky. Just makes it dirty. And I'm watching Dog. What's it called? You know, the American show Dog, and he basically chases people that are wanted by the police. Bounty hunter, that's it. And haven't seen the program for quite a while. I first discovered it in 2014, I think it was. Yeah, 2014. And I liked it quite a bit. I did. I used to watch it every day. But now, yeah, not that interested. It just happened to be on. Don't watch much telly. I had a nap earlier. I just had enough. Just thought, oh, I'm going to sleep, man. Going to sleep. Which I did. I just laid down and just went to sleep for 8:30. Yeah, about 3 hours, I think it was. Just needed a nap. And I got one. I mean, basically, I've been sat here staring at this computer for hours, all day long, really, pretty much. And the other thing I've been doing, which is, this stupid, crappy chair. Whenever my friend gives me stuff, it's always shite. It's always fucking, excuse my language, it always falls apart. It's fine when he gives it to me, and then there's no point buying, or he gives it to me, so and it's really kind of him, but it's never works properly. Nothing ever seems to work properly. This chair just clicks like really loudly, and it might not have anything to do with the chair. It might just be my big fat bum. However, I'm blaming the chair, and it's annoying. So it's not really what I want while I'm making a recording, like a big bang, while I'm doing that. I have to sit completely still when I do a hypnosis-y one. So what I'll probably need to do in the future is get myself a decent chair, probably a gaming chair, one of those things, that's really comfortable, good for me back, supports me back, but at the same time doesn't make lots of noises, because they're built for people who are sitting for long periods of time. So that's probably what I'll get myself, not this year, maybe next year. Not anytime soon, baby. It's going to be a while before that happens, but I will look to do that, because this chair's just no good. It's okay for now. It's fairly comfortable. Doesn't support my back at all, but it's it's fairly comfortable. It rocks. Well, yeah, it does rock a little bit, but I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't lean all the way back, because it'd probably do what every other chair in the world does when I lean back on it. It'll explode. It will bang, and I'll find myself on the floor like, oh no, I've broken another chair. How am I going to get back up onto my feet? All those problems that come with it, and with being the size of a house. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no. Oh, well, that hurt. Oh, it's not supposed. Farts aren't supposed to hurt. Oh, I did a fart earlier, and it was so smelly. Now, as you know, I don't normally fart, but been having a few problems as late. Today was the third instalment of the constipation blockbuster. This is chapter 3 today, and it was a little bit easier. It was a bit of an easier read, if you know what I mean. things flowed a little bit better. The words, as I was reading the chapter, because the first chapter, it was very, very, I don't know what that was. That wasn't me. The first chapter of this constipation saga was, it was a heavy read. I found it very difficult to finish the chapter, if I'm honest. It was very, very hard to process. It didn't. To say it didn't flow easily it just didn't flow. It's almost, I felt almost very blocked while I was reading it. And at the end of it, I felt physically exhausted. I really did. It took me ages to finish it. It was over an hour it took to finish that particular chapter. Now the second chapter was, I think it was yesterday, and it wasn't an easy chapter, but it was easier, easier. Feel things. I'm not saying things felt lubricated, like things were just flowing a little, but they did flow a little bit easier. There was less of a strain on my brain as I was trying to read that particular chapter of the constipation saga. It was historically accurate, but the end did come. And I was pleased. But it was probably about 25 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe. So it took less time to read, and things eventually presented themselves, to me, sort of in a sense of understanding. Now, today I read the third chapter of this ongoing, I don't want to call it a shit story, but it's ongoing. And today I could definitely feel it was more of a smoother read, as it were. It's still blockages, still not as smooth as I'd like. It didn't flow completely, but eventually, it's almost like before. It was just one big, very solid story in the first chapter. Like, it was so solid, very hard and solid story, and hard to follow. And it just didn't move very quickly. Very heavy and solid. The second one yesterday, the second chapter that I read, it was still quite solid, the story, still quite heavy, but less. It was lighter than before, and although it did take a while to really present itself, so that I could really understand what was going on. But then what happened is that big solid story, as it was sort of, I don't know, gaining entry, but it sort of broke up into a few subplots, which made it easier to digest, or I don't digest is the right word, probably the opposite to that. But yeah, so breaking up into a few subplots was good. Now today, it definitely seemed to start off with a few subplots, but you could still feel there was a solid story there somewhere, sort of in the back. I got a sense it was a little bit like a train, this story today. I could definitely sense that it was coming through the tunnel, but only part of the first carriage was through the tunnel, like the back tunnel bit, as it was sort of heading to the tunnel exit. So I think you could see the light, but you could see that was an old one. The carriages at the front seemed to be a lot older than the carriages further back, and the ones further back seemed to be kind of willing to come through, but I think the one at the front was a little bit stuck in its ways, if you know what I mean. It's like a bit, no, I don't want to move. It just seemed to want to just stay there. But eventually everything moved along and it was okay. It's okay, and as I said, there was even more subplots at the end of this one, which made it easier to examine. Not that I examined it, I mean, but you know, in my mind, yeah, I think. So what I've been doing today is I took this medication. It was a softener for, you know, to soften the thingy, and I think it's given me a bit of an upset stomach, but we'll see. I'm hoping this will all be sorted and back to normal by next week. It's Friday now. It's weird because I don't, cause I have the occasional obstruction. Like everybody does, I think. Or I'll drink a cup of coffee. It's the worst thing to drink whilst talking because it dries your mouth up. I feel like someone that as they get older, like, the saliva stops being produced, ending up with a dry mouth and other stuff that we don't talk about. But I'm not there yet. I do produce saliva. Oh, I'm not sure what that was. So yeah, okay, that's a good start. So what I've done is I have did some research. I think it was yesterday or last night, because I've been looking for a way to transcribe my podcasts and my videos and my recordings since the start of doing them. And I found the odd way. I found one way, and this place, I think it was a podcast host, and they did it free. And then they issued me a bill for like $700 because I'd overused their service. In the fine print that I didn't read, it said that, anything over a certain amount would be charged. And in the end, they accepted, I think, $150 and for me never to use their service again. It was horrible. That was not a nice day. So since then, I've been very, very dubious, very careful about what transcribing services I use, because I don't want to get caught out like that again. And it's hard because once they've got your card number, they can pretty much do what they want. And the rules online aren't quite as strictly observed or monitored or policed as it is in shops and, the normal world. In a normal world, you couldn't go into a shop, buy a pair of panties or whatever for $9 and then them just charge another $74 on top. They just can't do that. But online, they seem to think they can do what they want, and I don't agree with it. I really don't. Anyway, I've been looking. I'm not like looking 24 hours a day, but I'm looking to see how I can transcribe my audios, my recordings, into written text, in the hope of two things. First of all, putting a transcription with the recording, so people that have difficulty hearing can read. Although I don't think many people that are deaf are going to be going anywhere near podcasts. It just doesn't seem like that's something that someone's going to do. But I mean, I might be wrong. So I thought, well, if I can reach different audiences and I can help out someone, because having had hearing loss issues myself in the past, I'd happily try and help out if I can a little bit. But the main thing is to be able to create some ebooks and maybe some real books based on the thousands of hours of me talking. I figured there's got to be something there worth reading. Surely. Especially when it comes to when I'm talking about stress and anxiety and panic attacks and relaxation techniques or whatever. I imagine there's way more than one book. Because a book, you only get like a 60-page book on an ebook. They're not big. Some of them are even like 30 pages. So what I thought I'd do is do a little ebook, sell it, well, give it away for free, to be fair, but sell it for free, if that makes sense. Stick it on Amazon, put it on the different places that allow me to give it away for free, or for people to read for free on Kindle and stuff like that. And also stick it on my website as well, just to see whether or not, just and say this is free because I'm looking for feedback. That's it. Just so I can get a bit of feedback to see whether or not they like the book. People, if they find, because I'm going to be basically just writing the way I speak, so a lot of it's just going to be word for word what I've said on a recording, but with additional writing from myself, just explaining what I've said or why I've said it, and stuff like that. So I just thought it might be an interesting thing to do, to add to what I'm already doing, because it's important for me to turn this into a business. I need to have things to sell, but at the same time I don't want to just randomly sell random things, which I could do. There's lots of merchandise and things that are possibilities, and I still might look at those in the future, but not right now. But anything that I do, I want it to be useful and worthwhile, and to have a point to it. Does that make sense? Do it make sense? I want it to be useful. I don't see the point in doing something just for the sake of doing it. Especially when it comes to something as important as a book. I say important, but you know what I mean. It's like something that I want it to be useful. Or at the very, very, very least, slightly entertaining. Something. So what I'm doing, I found this website. It cost me money to use it, but it's going to be, I've been uploading the relaxation hypnosis for stress and anxiety and panic attacks. So there's, I'm not sure how many there are there, so I'm uploading those first. I'm transcribing them first, rather. I'm up to number 39, so it's taken me all day to do this. There's no work for me to do. It's a case of just uploading the file, and they do the rest. But it is time consuming, and I'm doing other stuff at the same time. Now, once all those are done, I don't think I'm going to be able to get all of them done, because it resets every month. So once I use the full amount, I'll have to wait another month to get more. So I think I get something like 6,000 minutes, which is 100 hours. So you get 100 hours worth of transcribing, which gives me, not all these recordings were an hour long, some of them 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I guess I should get 150 recordings out of this on that podcast. And then I'll have to wait until, August the 9th or whatever, before I can start transcribing more. So in that time, what I'll do is I'll go through them, and I'll start organising the transcriptions, making it so I can upload it and just add it to the podcast itself. And then what I'll do is I will start to go through and just try to find subjects. So if there's a subject, let's say me talking about my own experiences with stress and anxiety and stuff, what I do is I start cutting and pasting and keeping that stuff separate. Put that into like a big file where I'm talking about that, and then maybe breaking up even more. So if I'm talking about, so say I've got a 10 page or 20 pages of me talking about myself. It's probably more than that, I imagine, because all I do is talk about myself. And I then break it up into, maybe organize it into what I'm talking about, anxiety or whatever, at work, at home, when I'm out, and maybe if I'm talking about being on a holiday, when I went to the Isle of Man or when I went onto the Buddhist retreat, and the effects of the anxiety and stuff, then I'd break that into bits. So I might have told the same story maybe 15 times, and it might be slightly different the way I've told it. hopefully I won't look like a big fat liar, because I don't want everyone to know what I'm really like. No, I don't. It should be kind of the same, but it'll be different versions of it depending on how I'm feeling, I guess, and depending on what I remember about those particular experiences. And then perhaps what I'll do is spend a little bit of time telling that story, because some of those stories I've talked about in the Let Me Bore You to Sleep as well. Or even in the Relax and Sleep Hypnosis Daily, I might have talked about that stuff. So, eventually I'll go through the whole lot and come up with a very definitive collection of me talking, but in written terms, of those experiences. In the same with the Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Even though I don't necessarily go into huge detail about my childhood, I think I did a bit in some of the early recordings. I know I did. I know I did. I really did. But then I started to I wanted to make it lighter, There was times when the recordings weren't quite as light. So I thought, no, I'll still make them funny. But I thought, yeah, I want to try and keep it light. I don't want to really talk too much about that stuff. Which is why I guess there are times when it's a bit repetitive. When I talk about living in a children's home, I don't really go into any details or tell you any new stories, because partly I don't remember that much anymore. It's not something I really think about. But there's a lot of stuff happened during those years, and a lot of things that I probably could sort of remember if I gave it some thought. Yeah. Just trying to think. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I don't want to do that instead of this. So I need to be careful. I need to watch myself, because I have a tendency, as a person, it's something that's been my tendency for forever really, is when I get really into something, I tend to do that to the exclusion of everything else. Even eating and going to the toilet, I need to go to the toilet, I'll just hold it in. If I need to eat, I don't even think about eating. My stomach's rumbling. God, feed me, man, come on. I can't maintain this figure without food. Ideally greasy food, chips, chocolate. Come on, man. You know the game. Stop messing around. Don't row me, man. Don't row me. So I said those stupid little... I used to work in a pub, and I don't know if he worked in a pub with me or not, but he's like this little Irish man, but it was so horrible. It was just horrible. I talk like, don't row me, mate, don't row me. And he'd be talking about, he's always talking about fighting and beating people up, and he was an adult. What is it with adults? These adults, if you're still talking about fighting and you're in your 20s and you're no longer a teenager, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Unless you're a professional fighter, you're doing it or you're doing it as a sport, if you're still sitting around with people showing off about done this or done that, if you still, basically, if you want to impress other people, you're a child, you're a little child, you got a child's brain. So stop it. Now. Stop it now. And by a child's brain, what I mean is, in that moment, you're being a child. Doesn't mean you got a child's brain all the time. Although some people seem to have. Let's have fun. I want to just have fun. You're 45 years old. No, but I want to have fun. No, don't work like that. You don't have fun at 45. You have responsibilities. You can have some enjoyment, but you're not a child anymore. I want to party. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to be miserable like the rest of us. But I want to have fun. I want to do things, and I want to get drunk, and I want to just have a punch up. You're a middle-aged man. You can barely get up the stairs without getting out of breath. How you can have a punch up with someone? Come on, man. I just want to hit someone. Stop it. Grow up. Grow up, man. You're not a teeny weeny anymore. You're an oldie bogey, an oldie. I'm really talking to myself here. I just want to have a punch up. I want to I'll knock this, I want to knock him out. And then I was just, I've got my shopping in my hands, and I'm like 5 steps up the stairs, that I walk up, and I'm thinking, perhaps getting into a fight isn't a good idea. Then I put the bags down, and I use all my strength to try and find my keys. And I find them, and I'm struggling to unlock the door. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't get into a fight. Maybe I should just accept reality. I'm 50. I should just, And I sit down, and I just letting go of that, all that pressure, and relax. It feels so good, and like, yeah, I'm 50. I should just accept it and embrace reality instead of trying to fight it. So, okay, I shouldn't get into fights. And 10 minutes later, I'm watching the news and thinking, I want to knock him out. Oh, one punch. Where did reality go? It seems to have passed by. Come back, reality, come on. Stick around for a little while. I do like reality. In some ways. In some ways. Not every way, obviously, because, nothing's obvious, but, yeah, I'm not a fan of every reality aspect of my life. However, there's something comforting about actually getting in touch with reality and not fighting it. And I don't think that, you could say, well, yeah, but accepting reality is as negative. It's a negative thing. Well, I understand it could be, I suppose, could be perceived as being negative. So me accepting reality is, I'm not fit anymore, and I should just, or I'm fat and that's it, I should just accept it. Well, accepting it isn't going to help me in the future, because you don't see any fat 80-year-olds hardly ever. It's true. It's just a fit. How often do you see a hugely, really, really fat old person? And they do exist, but there's not many of them. And you can argue that all the time, but you're just arguing with reality. So there. So that's what worries me about my dad, because he's still got a bit of weight on him. He's a big bloke. He was born. I think he must have just been a big baby. A big baby. Not now. I'm not calling him a big baby. When he was born, I think he was just a big baby. He was. God, you still talking about your dad? You were talking about him yesterday. Yeah, no, I don't know what that is. I think issues. Issues, probably. So he was, I think he was like 14.5 stone when he was in school, in high school. Now that's a lot. That's a really heavy child. That's a big child. 14.5 stone. I don't know what that is in pounds. It's over 200 pounds, I'd say. Yeah, it's got to be over 200 pounds. So 200-pound teenager is quite... And he weren't fat. He didn't have any fat on it. He was just muscle, which most teenagers are generally. So he wasn't an obese kid. I think he only really started... And it's only really his belly. The rest of him is like muscle. But it's only really probably when he hit his 30s that he started to get a bit of middle-aged spread. But up till then, and even now, he pretends that he's lighter than me, but he isn't. He can't be. He's bigger than me. He can't be lighter than me. So he's just naturally. So if you imagine if you're 14.5 stone, slim, like just without any fat on you when you're a teenager, he must have been a hell of a lot heavier when he was an adult. He must have been walking around at 16, 17 stone, I reckon, when he was like working, when he was in his 20s and 30s. He must have been. There's no way he could have been, unless he stayed the same weight his whole life, which he didn't. Because I'm about 15.5 stone. And he's big. He was bigger than I am. I think he's bigger than I am now, but he was way bigger than I am. So he must have been a good couple of stone heavier. So, because he's so broad, he's so strong, like chest, arms, all that stuff, that I guess it doesn't... I don't know. It's almost like an optical illusion. It's like when I look in the mirror, when I'm naked, it looks like I have no penis. But it's an optical illusion. I, in fact, have a micro penis. It is there. You just can't see. Oh, by the way, I am available. I am single. If there's any ladies out there that are really not fussy at all. If you really don't care, if you're not bothered at all about looks, personality, or weird smells, give me, get in touch. It will surprise you that I don't get I don't get much response from those messages that I send out. Maybe it's because it's too far into the recording and a lot of people are asleep, or maybe there's people lying down thinking, oh, that's the best news I've ever heard. That he's the man of my dreams. But unfortunately, I'm too tired and I'm just too relaxed. I can't be bothered to go and get my my writing pad and my feather ink pen. I just can't be bothered. I'm just gonna have to just lay here in my multi-million-pound house on my own, even though I'd love him to be here with me. Oh, the idea of lots of different smells daily. Waking up to that funny face every day. What bliss. Oh. I'm not sure if I'm really selling myself. I don't know. I remember years ago, I was sitting in a nightclub, I'll call it my nightclub, it wasn't, but in my head it was. It's the only building I ever loved. Pretty much. Now, I loved my nan and granddad's house. And it was a house that I lived in before they did, and I associated positivity with that house. We were there for a year. We were happy as a family, pretty much. And then my nan and granddad moved in there, and they were happy. And it was all positive, really, apart from granddad dying, and there was that armed robbery siege that was a little bit negative, but apart from that, but you know, my nan falling over and stuff, that wasn't great, but you know, but I didn't associate that, some of the more trials, you know, some of those kinds of things as to do with the house. So when my nan broke her hip, even though it was in the house, it wasn't because of the house. It was because of a hose pipe, actually. And before you start going weird with your images, she was hosing the garden, and she tripped over the hose pipe when the end came out of her bum. No, she tripped over it, and yeah. I mean, that's resilience, that lady. She had the strength that I'll probably never understand. I mean, she I'm not laughing because it's funny, she climbed, because she was in the back of the garden and there was no one around, and my granddad wasn't there anymore. But she climbed all the way through the garden and got into the house and all the way through to the phone, and managed to get the phone, and then she phoned my dad. Didn't phone an ambulance. She was of that stupid generation where phone the family, you know, don't actually phone for the people you need. I'll phone you, Dad. Let's put it on him, you know. Not, let's call an ambulance and let the ambulance come in, and then let them phone the family. But, you know, it's her choice, so that's what she did. You know, if I was in an emergency, I would phone 999 or 911 or 754 or Jojo or whatever, depending on what country I was in. I would phone the number for the emergency services. Imagine, like, ring, ring. Hello. Hi, Dad, it's Jason. Yeah, what do you want? It's 2 a.m. Yeah, sorry to disturb it, Dad, but I've had an accident, fallen out of the bath, and I've broken my arm. So? Well, I can't move, I'm stuck. I just thought if you can help. How am I supposed to help? Well, maybe you can phone for an ambulance. Why don't you phone for an ambulance? I don't have an answer for that. Yeah. You've got a phone, haven't you? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you're phoning me on it. You've got a phone? Yes, Dad, I have a phone. Do you remember the number, or is that why you're calling? Because you forgot the number. Let me tell you again. I've told you it for years, but if you... Yeah, okay. Remember it, okay? You ready? 9 9 9. That's the number. Yeah, I know, Dad. I know the number. So why didn't you call it then? Because I guess I just saw it as an opportunity for you to care about me. Issues with the father. He's always got issues with the father. What is his issue? Why can't he just sit down and talk to him? Sit down and talk to your dad, Jay. Go on. Sit down and talk to him. Sort it out. Don't use my time. This is my podcast time. Trying to listen. Trying to go to sleep. And all I'm hearing is you going on about your dad and your bloody family. Oh, I was in a children's home. Oh, I was adopted. Oh, I was fostered. I'm such a victim. Poor me. My name's Jason Newland. I've had it so bad. That's a bit harsh. Yeah, well, just get on with something different. Stop talking about your dad, will you? Well, it was kind of part of the story. I was just making fun of the idea of calling up someone that's not relevant to what you need. Yeah, but your dad was relevant, wasn't he? What do you mean? Well, your nan phoned your dad because she probably wanted him to come over and look after her while she waited for an ambulance. Because they're not always the quickest, are they? They're not always the quickest. They don't always get there when you want them. Okay, I didn't think about that. Maybe she wanted to see the face of her son. Maybe she had a good relationship with her son. Maybe you should learn from that. All right. Calm it now. All right, mate? Calm it. Now then, calm it, everyone. Let's have a bunch up. Oh, wait a minute. No, I can't, because I'm 50. I'm a 50-year-old old man. All right, just shut up. You shut up. Just shush. You shush. Shut your fuck. Was you about to say fuck? No, it was not about to say that. Do not swear. Fuck. Shut up. Show me a nipple and I'll show you a wand that will take you back to where you belong. So I was... The point I was saying is I felt I liked that house. That's all it was. Oh yeah, so I was in the nightclub. Another building, but a building that I really, really loved. It was a comedy club and I loved it. I'd been going there since 91, January the 23rd. It was a Wednesday, I think. Right the way through regularly until 2001. And then I'd visit. I moved away from London, but I used to come back and visit and stay in hotels and stuff, or stay at my friends who owned the club. And then eventually I didn't go as often as I used to do, blah blah blah. And then the place changed, so the comedy went upstairs and downstairs was a nightclub, like a music and stuff. It ruined it for me. For me, that was it, you know. It couldn't be the same, but there was a financial need to do that, basically, because the rent was so bloody high, seriously high. The landlord just basically, I think the landlord sat on the buildings for years and years and years, 20 years, and the buildings went up in price by millions. This whole area, it was a dump, and then now that area is one of the trendiest parts of London. Yeah, it was a trendy place. Trendy, my man. Very, 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 very trendy. But at that time, it's just starting to become more and more popular. So the dormant property owner who owned the entire building, which was huge, and I think other buildings in the area, there were old mills that weren't used anymore, and sold them to someone else, of course, someone different. And that person came along and put up my friend's rent by a huge amount. I think doubled his rent or something. Now, before that, he had a really good relationship with the landlord, and the rent did go up, over time, but it was minimal. It was, it was a very fair and good relationship for 20 years that they were kind of, for the first 20 years out of 25 that he was there. But then the last 5 years, once it was a new landlord, this bloke wanted he wanted blood, he wanted everything he could get. And possibly the reason for that is, firstly, I imagine his mortgage was absolutely massive, because he bought all these buildings for millions and millions and millions. I imagine the one building's probably worth 5 million, if not more. So the amount of mortgage you'd have to pay on something like that. The thing is, something my friend never got credit for is he rebuilt the inside of that building. It was nothing. It was just a derelict, crappy, horrible, I mean, it had been changed before he got there, because his friend owned it and then sold it to him. But this was, this is like 1990. But over the next 20 years, he built an art gallery upstairs. He built offices. He built another nightclub upstairs, because there was like 4 floors. He built so much stuff, and put in new floors, new everything, really made it nice. Invested. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't invest at least $500,000 over that 20 years in infrastructure, like changing stuff, toilets, walls, just the whole, the whole. It's hard to go through all this. I'll do it one day, because I remember there's so much he did. Spent an absolute fortune. But you don't get anything for that. That's what I realised, if I ever rented somewhere out. If you rent a building out and it's crappy inside and you make it beautiful, your rent's still probably going to go up, and then when you move out, they'll keep that stuff. You've increased the value of their property. Which means if you're renting a flat And then you decide, well, I'm going to decorate it nicely. I'm going to put in decent toilets, maybe even put in a decent kitchen, because you might decide to live there for, a few years. So you decide to just, okay, no, I'm going to invest, and I'm going to have it all professionally decorated. I'm going to put in really beautiful carpets, all that stuff. And then you might put in your own. I know people that do that. They'll change the kitchen. They'll put in a new kitchen, like a brand new kitchen, or brand new bathroom suite, like a nice one, not the one that came with the flat when they started renting it. Because they were going to rent, they planned to stay there for a few years. And then they moved out. And then the landlord comes in and looks around and sees all these beautiful changes that have been made that maybe shouldn't have been made, maybe he didn't have permission to do that, but looks around and sees that the bathroom's got a 10 grand fitted bathroom instead of the £300 one that he'd put in, or the second-hand one that he'd put in, which is more likely, with the kind of landlords that I know about. And then what can they do? They can then rent it for more money because the value of the property's gone up. The value of the letting's gone up because it's got a beautiful kitchen and a beautiful bath. Well, is there such thing as a beautiful bathroom if you poo in there? Can anything be beautiful if you poo near it? You know what I mean? But ultimately, a really nice carpet, because you can't take that stuff with you. You can't take the bath with you. You can't take all the kitchen cabinets with you and the sink, unless you've still got the old stuff and you replace it and put it back in. I'm sure there are people that do that and know how to do that, and they keep that stuff in storage and they just put that back on. But yeah, you can have exactly, you imagine doing that sort of, and the landlord's looking around at the nice stuff and thinking, alright, yeah, it's good, here's your deposit back. And then going back thinking, yeah, I'm going to charge an extra £200 a month for this. And then he comes in to show the new tenants or prospective new tenants around, and he realises that you've took all your stuff back and it's now how it used to be. Same toilet as before, same bath, a little tin bath. The same rusty kitchen, whatever you call it. Where's it you put stuff on? The sink. Rusty taps and the board, the thing that you put your dishes on when you've washed. And thinking, I can't charge. But then in that situation, you say, you know what? I know it's £700 a month, but because I like you, I'm going to do it at 500. I'll do it at 500 for you because you're so lovely. And they might jump at that, not realising that originally you were getting £450 a month. One day I'll tell you all about my landlord and landlady experiences. I have touched upon it in the past, but I will... I've had some very weird experiences with landlords and landladies. My summary up is I don't like them. That's my summary. My summary up is... I know my stepsister didn't like hearing that once because she was dating a landlord, and I said they're all scum. All slippery scumbags. And she didn't like that. I said, yeah, but said, but that's my boyfriend, Scott, he does that. I said, yeah. Doesn't surprise me. He's a slippery scumbag too. Now, not all landlords are slippery scumbags, but they are. But they're not. But they are. I've met. I'm not sure. I'm actually no. The YMCA, the scumbag landlords there, were nice. Actually, but it was a charity, and it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, I've had lots of. Yeah, I was not even interesting experiences, just crappiness. They're okay as long as they're getting your money, but even then they can be a bit weird. There's one landlord that was just always there. I think he just loved seeing us, and he was there for like 3 or 4 months with scaffolding. What the hell he was doing? I know one thing he wasn't doing, and he wasn't sorting out the dampness in my room. So, all the thousands of pounds he was spending on the building, he didn't seem to be interested in my room. I remember saying, your net curtains are all dirty and damp. I said, yeah, it's because they're damp and dirty. It's because of the windows. Because it's damp in here. He said, you should open the windows then. I said, I do open the windows all day, every day. He said, oh. I said, there's damp in there. He said, there's not damp in there. I said, yes, there is. He says, no, I said, it's mouldy. He says, because you don't open the windows enough. I said, well, I do open the windows. He said, oh, we don't open them enough. But I do open the windows. I've always opened windows wherever I've lived. I don't stay in a room without the window open. I've got the window open here now. I like a bit of air coming in. I don't want to just sit in a room smelling my own farts. I want to have some air. But it was slippery. I think that's it. A lot of not that they're bad people. I just think of some. I think it comes with the job description. You've got to be a bit slippery. You've got to be a little bit dodgy. If not as a person, but in just during your role as a landlord, honesty doesn't seem to be the priority. It doesn't seem to be the most important thing as a landlord. Especially with like multiple occupancies and stuff, because there's a lot of money in that. I remember he put down an address, so he had to put down his address as an emergency call for in event of a fire or anything like that in the building. Yeah, it wasn't his address. He put down the address of another one of his houses that he was letting out. I only found that out because one of the people who lived there, he knew him, and he did some work for him. And the fact is that he lived in this huge house out of town. It's multi-million-pound mansion or whatever, and the address he gave was another multiple occupancy around the corner from us. So when people had problems, they'd go around there looking for him. Or if he'd put a notice through the door threatening, eviction, sometimes they'd go around there looking for him. And nope, he wasn't there because he didn't live there. It was slippery. Very sly and slippery. Imagine having a place that someone says, yeah, I'm breathing in. I'm ill because I'm breathing in mouldy dampness from the wall. My thought was, oh my goodness, I'll do everything I can to sort this out so that you can have this problem gone and you can enjoy, even if it is a tiny little room, at least you can have a bit of peace and quiet and not be having mould to deal with. But that wasn't his priority. His priority was, I think, rent boys, but that's my own personal opinion. It doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to go, thanks for listening to me. Remember to be kind to yourself because you deserve to be happy. Lots of love. Bye.